everyone. Welcome. This is episode number 7, as you may have noticed, in our series about midlife metabolism and weight loss. Today, we're going to dive into something rarely discussed. It might even be a little taboo. Ooh. I'm Sharlene Stiles, holistic nutritionist, life coach, and metabolism mechanic.
And I am Cheryl Gordon. I help midlife women sleep better, lose weight, and feel stronger with the tools of yoga and mindfulness. And Charlene, I am so committed to having this conversation. So, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about SEX as well as some other key aspects of community and connection.
This is so important, and your mother would be shocked that we're talking
I
about
know.
this. Also, but
Um,
it is super important, not only for weight loss, but for overall vitality.
and can I just speak from the heart here?
Of
It
course.
can be lonely as an older woman. I mean, my kids are busy. All the feelings of camaraderie I had when I was working at an office are behind me. And I love my honey, but I just don't have the hormones that drive me to seek the humpa wumpa all the time. And I don't know about our listeners, but my honey's rather old school. If I tell him I want a hug or I cuddle, you kind of have to be ready to sign up for the full Monty. You know what I mean?
I forget those days. And what about like if you don't have a partner at this stage of life, like me? I'm single, so connection and intimacy are not built in innately for me either.
Yeah. And quite frankly, not only did desire cool quite a bit after menopause, but sex got painful. So I'd just like to shout out to all my sisters in this and encourage them to go do their research on the North American Menopause Society website. This is a professional certification body made up of gynecologists and other professionals who have done additional study in women's mature health. And they have published several easy to understand policy papers that really helped me clarify what my medical options were. And this kind of advice is outside of my scope of practice, but I really just wanted to say that even though I'm a yoga therapist and I committed to being holistic in all of my health, sometimes a little help from pharmaceuticals goes a long way. It's not giving up.
I agree, Cheryl, and good for you. It's so important that women get the information and keep searching until they find the solutions that are right for them, because that is really unique to each one of us. So let's not let the embarrassment hold us back. And you, my friend, we want you to know you're not alone.
Thank you. And Charlene, how does a healthy sex life, intimacy, and connection affect our weight gain?
Oh, that's such a great question. So yeah, let's talk about it. Intimacy and connection and a healthy sex life are important because it's not just about pleasure alone. It's really about our power. This is where our life force is generated from, right? If we think about where babies come from, where life comes from, this is the central root. So when we feel like we are deeply connected emotionally, physically, spiritually, our bodies begin to shift. The stress melts, our cortisol levels drop, we stop living in the survival mode and we come back to our bodies to trust in its own vitality. And the love hormone, oxytocin, it floods our system. That helps calm the cravings, boosts our metabolisms, help us sleep better. And even more than that, we awaken, we become to feel alive. And when a woman is lit up from the inside, from within, her body finds balance naturally. So, yes, pleasure, intimacy, and connection are all fuel for metabolism, and they are really medicine for our overall health.
And such a big topic. And I just like to bring in, wait for it. Here I go again, the nervous system. Remember, we talked about the connection between stress and weight gain. I think it was episode 4. Humans are wired to be part of a tribe. To be ostracized for most of human history meant certain death. So that wiring is still very present and active in our modern brain. It is physically painful to feel left out or to be ignored or gossiped about. And loneliness is real.
I agree. And I'm so glad that we're talking about this because this right here is what so many women just don't realize. Our nervous system is not overreacting, it's actually just doing its job. Feeling left out, judged, or excluded isn't just emotionally tough, it's also physically painful because our body reads it as danger. And in midlife, it can feel especially lonely, as you've already mentioned, Cheryl, like things shift, our careers change, friendships fade, the kids grow up, they move away. And then suddenly, it's not like you're being seen anymore at this stage of life. Like you've become invisible in a world that worships youth and surface beauty. So here's the real truth that we're still here, and the deepest part of you, of us, is that wise, the fiery, radiant part of us is all still very much alive. So we don't have to wait to be chosen, to be rescued. We can consciously create our own connection and on purpose. And when we do this, it's not just good for the soul, it's literal medicine for our metabolism. Because when we feel safe, we feel seen, we feel supported, the body stops bracing itself. Our cortisol is dropped, the cravings stop or ease anyway. Our sleep can deepen, the weight shifts because the body is no longer stuck in this survival mode that we keep talking about, or you do with your nervous system, and this is such a big part of it. And that is really the power of belonging. So I guess the question might become like, how do we actually do this? And I would say perhaps to start small. I have found for me that it works to take the first step, to reach out to someone who lights me up, invite them or her for a visit or for a walk or for a game or something to do that we have in common, or discuss something that we have in common. So making connection an actual ritual, a habit, intentional. So my best friend lives out in BC, which is really challenging because of the time difference and also the location. But, voice notes, we leave each other voice notes because talking all the time doesn't work. So walks and talks with friends, or cozy time with, tea and truth telling sessions with some friends, or having tea dates. We can even pull some women together, or a circle, starting our own circle, whether that's male or female or both. We don't need permission to build our own village. We just need to take the first step to do that. So I think if we're craving depth, we have to say yes to the invitations, to calling the things that have been nudging us and tugging us, say yes to that woman's retreat, or the things that have been really pulling at our heartstrings. So this isn't just about friendship, it's about really coming home to ourselves. And that kind of safety really recalibrates our entire system. Hormones, metabolism, mood, they all shift when our nervous system finally hears you belong, you matter, you're safe, you're home. And we're not meant to lone wolf this. Like, as you said, we're meant to be part of a tribe, and particularly through midlife. So, this is a season, as we know, is of deep transformation. Our nervous system is begging for safety, for connection, for truth, our truth.
And you're doing amazing right now by listening to podcasts like this with Sharlene and I. As you empower yourself at home, work on your own thoughts or feelings and actions, you start to attract like-minded people. Full disclosure, I have shed some previously close relationships as I've been trying to do my own self-development, as my yoga practice progresses and deepens. And there are times when I feel, I guess I'd use the word exposed, people that I used to hang out with. It used to be like every Friday night we do such and such, and now that's not working so much. And for a while you feel really, you know, scared. But once you sense the possibilities of taking charge, not just of losing weight, but your whole life, it gets easier to stay the course, to keep on with your self-development.
I agree. Yeah. And thanks for naming that, because this transition, it's real. When we start shedding these old patterns and relationships and even our identities, it can feel very raw and lonely before it actually feels empowering. So it's a sign that we're growing, we're aligning, and this is really sacred work. And here's what helps is not to do it alone. Staying accountable in community or with friends or in a tribe isn't about pressure for something more to do. It's really about support. And as you've mentioned many times here, Cheryl, we are meant to thrive in a tribe, and particularly as women. So having women around you who remind you of who you are when you forget who you are can really be an anchor into our highest self. And being around those who reflect back to us our brilliance, our strength, and our truth, that is where the magic is. And if you don't have that accessibility right now, maybe we can talk about a few ways to, you know, tap in and really feel anchored. And one of the ways that we can do that is by finding people who make you feel more like the real you. So, not the version that's just people pleasing or playing small or trying to keep the peace. If you walk away from a conversation feeling drained or second guessing yourself or like you had to shrink to fit in, that's just not your people. That's not your circle. And that's your signal. Protect your energy like your life depends on it because it really does. And I think another way is to be the brave one and go first. Be the woman who sends out an invite, a message, and starts the conversation like a real conversation. Like, saying I'm pretending that I'm done pretending everything is fine. I want more depth, more truth, I want to be more real. And yeah, that can be very vulnerable. It might even be messy, but waiting for someone else to go first, that's truly, I believe, how we stay lonely. And then if we can step into rooms that really expand us, this is where our next version of ourself lives, even if it terrifies us. You know, that woman's retreat that you keep circling around or that keeps tempting you, say yes. That movement class that where you don't know anyone but you've been wanting to try, go anyway. And if it feels both scary and soul stirring, that's your growth edge. That's you becoming or stepping into the next version of yourself. And I think the other thing we can do is just call ourselves on our own bullshit, like with love. You probably don't need another reset or another meal plan. You probably need to just stop abandoning yourself when life becomes uncomfortable. Like, show up, stay. And when you fall off, don't ghost yourself, your own growth. Text your people, say, I'm in the spiral. I need some eyes on me. I need some support. That's what our sacred community is for. It's not to judge you, it's to hold you as you rise. And as you rise, we all rise together. So this isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about truth. It's about rising together collectively as women, as a tribe. Because this real transformation, it doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in brave spaces with brave women telling the truth and choosing to keep going, even when it's messy. So you're not meant to do this alone. And the moment that you can remember that, everything starts to shift.
I think that's awesome, awesome advice. I was listening carefully, Charlene, through that whole thing. Can I just share a few little things as it related to my weight loss last year? Because I think a lot of my weight gain came from feeling lonely at night, a little bit at loose ends. So one of the things that I started doing was journaling.
Mm.
Um, and at different times a day, I journal about different things. But at the end of the day, when the dishes were done, before I went and sat in front of the TV, which is where a lot of the food was getting eaten, I would sit down and just kind of write myself out. You did a great job today. Good for you. Stickers, like kids get little stars and stickers on their notebooks. I'm really proud of you because, and I know that sounds crazy, but it's funny how the little girl inside of me really reacted quite nice to someone talking nice to her instead of at the end of the day feeling like I didn't get enough done or I wasn't measuring up. I kind of felt like, oh, look, yeah, I guess I did get that pretty good. I did kind of hit that out of the ballpark. So being my own best friend was really helpful. And then the other thing was in relation to what you were saying about be the one that reaches out. It was a really hard conversation. Remember, I mentioned my old school honey? It was a really hard conversation to have with him because, we've been together a long time. We're in very deeply entrenched habits, but letting him know that I just needed some physical feeling of safety and affection and saying, when you're sitting down to watch TV after supper, do you think I could come and cuddle with you for 15 minutes or so on the couch? Just, just so I get your body to body solidity. And that could also happen if you have a pet or if you have another person in your life, like a best friend, that you can just say, I just need a hug. But just it's amazing how having during my vulnerable time of eating too much junk food, having that couple little things to help me feel more grounded, more connected, and get that oxytocin flowing, it really did make a huge difference. Well, one of the things I Charlene, jumped out of my comfort zone is I met you actually. We reconnected at a networking event last fall. I was really nervous to go to that. And I was kind of nervous to say to you, this is kind of a dream that I have to put these podcasts out. And you were great. Turns out you were up for creating deeper, more authentic connections too. And here we are planning really cool projects together.
And thank you, Cheryl, for being brave enough to take the first step. So I congratulate you. And I think this is such a big topic because I think so many women experience this, at least from my experience, working with my own clients and even myself, being single, working from home. Like, I think at some level, we all have this part of us that has a desire for more, to be seen, to be witnessed, to be connected to something. And this is, I don't know, I think it's a really big topic. Everything that we've been talking about is a really big topic. But I just want to add on the one thing that you're talking about, journaling. And I think this is such a beautiful part of when we can witness ourselves and to acknowledge those parts of ourselves that we may be desiring from someone else. You know, I I started this process myself many years ago. I think it was probably during COVID. Are we still talking about that? Anyway, our brains are wired to look for the negative, what is wrong, right? That's what keeps us safe and um, protects us. So that's our natural default mode, is looking at the negative. But when we can journal exactly what you were talking about, I call it the brag session. Like, I get many of my clients to do this, is jot down like 3 brags that you have about yourself. And sometimes a brag is just like, not in a egotistical kind of way, but in an acknowledging kind of way, to, when we do something that's challenging that we've overcome, or proud of ourselves, because we can often go unnoticed because we're trying to, be better and self-improve and looking for all the things that are wrong and the ways that we can, you know, make things better. But a brag can simply sometimes be that, depending on where you are, and I've been here myself, like I took a shower today, washed my hair, I put on like nice clothes. Like, sometimes that's enough of a win. And I think, we're looking for oftentimes these big, miraculous, huge steps. And sometimes, depending on what's going on in our life, the littlest things can be the most impactful, and smallest things that we need to and can definitely acknowledge in ourselves. So anyhow, I think this is a huge conversation, and maybe this is something to expand on in the future. I don't know. We have one more session in this series, and next time we're going to get really specific about what to eat.
And isn't it cool that we did these last 7 sessions about weight loss, and we did not say the DIET word once. So it's way more than calories in and calories out, right, Charlene?
Absolutely. And when we conclude this series, we'll be releasing a few deeper dive video courses. So please stay connected. Sign up for our newsletters or visit our websites and be the first to hear. There will be courses on hormones, metabolism, stress, sleep, and maybe even more, that we're uncovering all of these beautiful topics. But that's all we have so far. In the comments, if there's something more specific you'd like information on, drop them below. We want to hear from you, and we want to keep on supporting you in your weight loss journey and overall health and vitality journey.
And our websites are listed in the show notes. So please comment, share these episodes with your friends. Let us know what's resonating with you, and we will see you next session.
Bye for now.